Good morning, everybody. Lake Mayor Rowie Hansberger is our very special guest today, Friday, June 14th, 2024. For DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching DrydenWire Live, presented by Americans for Prosperity Wisconsin. AFP Wisconsin works to reignite the American dream and break down government barriers that hold us back from our full potential. Find an event near you at afpwisconsin.com and join AFP to fight for more freedom for all Wisconsinites. Last week, it was actually a week ago today, we had the guest that we're having on today was on last Friday, but we made it only about 10 minutes in. We had some technical difficulties. We have those all sorted out. So with that said, please join me in welcoming our guest today, recently elected mayor of Shell Lake, Rowie Hansberger. Rowie, good morning. Thanks for coming back, I guess.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for having me back. It was kind of frustrating last week, but it looks like everything's great now.
It is. So, well, we're considering this a first-time guest having on, and hopefully we'll do a lot more of these. But again, we only made it 10 minutes last month, and I think we even took down the post. Like, well, there's just no reason to have up a 10-minute-long chat where we didn't really get into anything. But because this is the first time on, before we get into what it's like being the mayor, I want to talk about events that were coming up. I kind of want to get your take and kind of how that process worked for you. There was a recent tragedy in Shell Lake. I'm interested to kind of get your thoughts on a few things. There's a lot we want to talk about. But first, for people who don't know you, or maybe not know you that well, tell us about you.
Well, I am originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we moved and then I met my husband in Wisconsin, and we moved to Shell Lake back in 2018, or 2017, actually. And we came here because we wanted to find a place to retire. And we thought either we're going to go to retire in the country or we're going to retire on a lake. And I wanted the country maybe because I could have horses again. And my husband said, no, he didn't want chores. And so we decided on a lake. And fortunately, we landed here at Shell Lake.
How did you find out about Shell Lake to begin with?
Well, one of my very good friends that I worked in ICU and ER together at night, we would talk about where we want to go when we retire. And she actually, within a couple of years of us talking, they bought a place in Shell Lake. And then when we were getting more seriously about retiring, she says, you guys have to check out Shell Lake. It's just awesome.
It is.
So we did. And long story short, here we are. Fell in love with it about the day 2 that we were here, and decided that this is where we want to retire.
Wanted to retire.
Yes.
So you said Michigan, right?
Grand Rapids, Michigan, yes.
Is that where you spent the majority of your adult life? Is that where you grew up to?
I was born and raised there, and we moved to Wisconsin actually when I was in 7th grade.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Gosh, I didn't know. So you moved to Wisconsin in 7th grade, and how long were you here?
Well, then I was in Wisconsin until I graduated from Lincoln High School in Manitowoc, Wisconsin in 1973. And then my husband and I moved to Minnesota in 76. And then we lived in Minnesota for 40 some years.
Okay.
And then we moved back to Wisconsin and in 2017.
I get it. And the idea,
back to the beginning.
And so the idea was to move to Wisconsin to retire. Found a lake, love Shell Lake, and how can't you? That's my hometown. I mean, I live in Spooner now, but I was born and raised in Shell Lake. It's my hometown. I have so much affection for Shell Lake. So you moved up here to retire.
Correct.
So, okay, so that's weird. You're a mayor right now, because I don't think you're doing retirement right. You're supposed to, get coffee in the mornings, talk to the gals, and sit on your porch. That's how you're supposed to retire. Maybe go golfing or bowling or curling. So you're on city council before you were the mayor. So how long was it into your retirement where you said, I got to do something?
Probably about day 2.
Oh, man.
I am not one to sit still. And after we moved here, we thought, what better way to move people? Because we really didn't know anybody other than Sue Hoffman and her husband. So my husband and I started volunteering. And he joined the Lions. And I did a number of projects with him with the Lions. And then one of the Lions people, Rob Anderson, came up to me and said, "Would you ever consider running for city council?" And I said, "I really don't know anything about government."
Right.
And he goes, "That's okay, we'll teach you." So then I said, okay. And so I did end up running and was on city council for 4 years. And during city council, people asked me if I'd be interested in running for the mayor. And at first I said, okay.
Hold on a second. So you ran for city council. Was that a contested race?
No, it was not.
Okay. And how often are city council members elected? Is that every 2 years?
Every 2 years, yes.
So you're on for 4. The second time around when you're running for re-election, was that a contested race?
It was not.
Okay. So you're on for 4 years in your retirement,
I am.
apparently. So tell us about that. That was new to you. So how about make a juxtaposition or compare and contrast your first 2 years versus your second 2 years. First 2 years, I'm assuming you're just trying to figure out how this all works, right? When did you kind of start getting comfortable in that role?
In city council?
Yeah.
I would say probably after the first year.
Okay.
The big thing was just understanding the whole mechanics of, the different committees. Kenny Schultz, who's our president of the city council, he cued me in right away and he said, it's really important to go to all of the meetings. Don't just go to city council and to the meetings that you're assigned, he said, because that's where all the meat, of the discussion happens. And so I took that to heart. And so I went to every single meeting. So by my 4th year, I really felt, confident and compelled. And so when somebody asked me if I wanted to run for mayor, I thought, well, it can't be too much different, understanding, what's going on than what I'm currently doing right now.
Yeah.
It's just really understanding for me the true role of the mayor. And I have a great team. So I'm really, really lucky.
Yeah, I want to quickly just give a shout out. You had mentioned Lions Club. Lions Clubs are legit, right? They just absolutely are. I think a lot of people don't realize all the things that Lions Club do, and they do. They do a great job. And Kenny Schultz, boy, I haven't seen that guy in a long time. So you decide to kind of, some people had asked you, would you consider running for mayor? There was already a mayor at the time. What made did you consider running for mayor before somebody asked you? Or was it only when they started asking and going, well, I don't know, maybe. So did you have any trepidation at all? Like, I don't know, I'm liking the city council gig. I feel like I'm really getting all of this. I feel comfortable in this role. I like being a decision maker. I want to stay here. Is there any trepidation at all?
There was a bit. One is people said to me, well, you're an outsider. You're not a homegrown girl. The gal that's has been mayor for 14 years. She's Sally Peterson grew up here in Shell Lake, so she had a lot of connections. And but I didn't let that stop me. People continuously came up to me and actually even came to my home and said, would you consider running for the mayor? So I started thinking, okay, maybe I could. And I know that I was a transplant and I was new, and I think I'll be here 30 years and I'll still be considered new to Shell Lake. But the people behind the ask were phenomenal. So I thought, I have all of this support and all of these people saying you could do it, including my husband is very supportive. And I thought, what do I have to lose? So I thought, I have the background, of the city. I had the backing of all of the city council. So I thought, I'm just going to go for it. And I did. And it was fun. And I'm thrilled that I did it.
Well, first, regarding being an outsider, there's actually some advantages or some benefits, I suppose. Andy Ike, the city administrator in Shell Lake, who's just like brilliant. The guy, I met him like 9 years ago, and I know him well enough to know that dude that's one of the smartest people I've ever met. I mean, he does so many things behind the scenes for the benefit of the city, but he's also an outsider, right? There are some benefits to it. I mean, it's just not is what we like to always say, like, you're not a homegrown person, but sometimes that can be bad. I'm not saying that means it's always bad, but there are benefits to being an outsider. When you ran for mayor, that's the same election cycle as the city council, isn't it? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, you said you have nothing to lose. Yeah, you do. The city, you can't run for mayor and city council.
Actually, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yes, I was on
That's
the
weird.
ballot for both.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, so if I wouldn't have gotten the mayor,
You'd still
um,
be city council.
I was still on the ballot for city council. They allow
Okay.
you to do
I
that.
didn't know that. And then you also said you had the backing of the city council. What do you mean?
So when this was brought up to run for city council, I mean, excuse me, for mayor,
Right.
I got the signature of every single, except for one, and she just didn't want to put in, she didn't want to do it. But not because she didn't support me, but just
Sure.
for other reasons.
Sure.
And I got the backing of every single council to sign my election papers
How
for.
how many city council members are there? Is it 5 or 7?
There, there's eight.
Oh, eight. Eight? That's weird.
Eight. Yes, there's eight. And I got seven to sign and say that they wanted me to be the mayor.
Wouldn't it be 6? Because you're one of the city council members.
Well, yes, six.
So six
But I
out of.
can vote for myself.
Oh, that's right. Right now, you totally would endorse yourself. I mean, come on. What are we doing? So that kind of the deciding factor for you. Let me put it another way. If you didn't have 6 of your peers on the city council supporting you, and by supporting I mean encouraging, and not just encouraging you, but putting their names to it, actually endorsing you. If you didn't have that, would you still have run?
I might have, but Ben, honestly, when I had that, I felt really confident that if I won, that I would have great support going forward.
Right. Yeah. And it was, as you mentioned, I think it was like one of the longest, or maybe Sally Peterson was the longest tenured mayor. Or if she wasn't, it was up there. And yeah,
Yes.
she had been there for quite a while. And you won the election, and it was by a quite a decent margin. So, did you expect to win? And did you expect to win by as much as you did?
I did not. I didn't know if I would win.
Mhm.
I was hopeful that I would,
Sure.
but I did not expect the margin to be what it was.
Yeah.
A couple of people said it's going to be close. It could be like 5 or 10 votes. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
And they said yes. And I said, well, so I had a great group of people that backed me and went out and campaigned for me. Even in a snowstorm, they were out knocking on doors because, as you know, in Minnesota in December. And so I honestly did not know how tight it was. I honestly thought it was going to be tighter than it was.
Yeah.
So when the numbers came out and Andy Ike sent me an email and he said, "You won by a landslide. Congratulations." It was like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. And seriously, congratulations, Madam Mayor.
Thank
That's got to
you.
be awesome hearing people say that. I want to be mayor just so people would have to call me, well, not Madam Mayor, whatever it would be. Mr. Mayor? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Uh, I think just mayor, or
Really?
maybe your honor, or I know
Ooh, I like that one. Your
sometimes
honor.
people say that to me as well.
Yeah, that'd be. I just want that job so my wife would have to then call me, Your Honor. I would love that. So you have been the mayor for a couple of months. I do want to kind of ask you, how's that going? But before we even get into that, there was a tragedy in in Shell Lake on Wednesday late afternoon, early evening. There was an apparent drowning of a 19-year-old. I know it's a heavy topic, but I'm interested to find out how it worked for you. What I mean is, if you must get a phone call, I don't know how that works. Somebody lets you know this is happening. I don't think there's like a book for mayors where you can, like a reference guide, that if this happens in your town and you're a mayor, then you need to follow, go to page 13 and okay, step 1. I don't think there's one of those. Did you kind of ask yourself, well, what's my role here? And what was your role? What did you do when you found out?
I did find out, and one of the city council people called me. And so I was actually heading down to the beach anyways because I had a meeting. And I saw one of our police officers down there. So I approached him and asked him if he could give me a little bit of what had happened. And he did. And I certainly appreciate the crime scene, so you don't want to invade that. No matter who you are, unless you're a police officer or the responding team, it doesn't matter if you're the mayor or the city administrator. And so I went down and I talked to one of the sheriff's people and one of the gentlemen from the fire department. And they just again explained it to me. And it's just, you know, I am a lifeguard actually in my past as well. So I've lifeguarded at beaches and pools and all of that. So I know that terrible feeling of thinking that somebody might have gone under the water, and in fact that had happened and he had drowned. We did not have lifeguards on the beach yet. They start on Saturday, so there were no lifeguards on the beach. But because of that, we I'm sorry, I'm trying to
No,
make it so it doesn't ring.
well, it's the first time you've been on, so it's one of those things that you don't realize. Oh, I should have probably done something before we went live.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, I did talk to them, and then they were on the scene immediately. And then I was going to go and talk to they weren't family members, but they were friends of the gentleman that drowned. And the police officer at the time said, it's probably best if I don't go over there and talk to them, because it is an investigation, of course.
Yeah, by default,
And
right. And it wasn't necessarily a crime scene per se, but it
right,
is something yes, they have to investigate it because you just never know. It's an apparent drowning, it seems as though, but, law enforcement's got to do their job. They have to do their due diligence.
exactly. And I totally respect them.
Yeah,
As you know, if they tell me I can't go any closer, I totally respect that.
yeah,
So then by then a couple more of the city council people had, come down to the beach. Andy Ike was down there. So we as a group, discussed what the best, what is the best thing that we are to do. And basically it's just to stand back, let the policemen and the fire department and the ambulance,
yeah,
do their job.
that's right.
And unfortunately the gentleman did not make it. He actually died at the scene, which was heartbreaking for all of us. He was a young man from not being in the area, and maybe he just didn't know the topography of the lake. But from the report that we put out, he got fatigued, which can happen. The water's cooler. It was a windy day, so the water was rough as well, and that it was just a terrible event. And you're right, there is nothing in a mayor book that says what do you do in case of a drowning. So luckily I have a little bit of background with water safety as being a lifeguard and teaching swimming lessons. So I know the angst that goes along when somebody, is in that predicament. And, you just feel terrible for the people involved, as well as, and the community itself is mourning for this, for this person. We don't know him. He's from out of town, but we still mourn just for the fact that we lost a life in our lake, and that it affects the people around here.
And it affects the first responders. It affects the people like yourself, the other city council members that went down there, because you can't unsee that stuff. You said the lifeguards weren't going to be out until this weekend.
Yes.
Is that normal how it goes? Or I always thought I assumed, I should say, not thought, that it was like Memorial to Labor Day is when it's always. What is when, so it's June, whatever this will be, is 15th tomorrow. That's kind of okay, we start here, and why is it starting then?
Well, because, we have a lot of high schoolers, they have to be WSI certified, water safety instructor certified through the Red Cross. And a lot of them have graduation parties or they're out of town.
Right.
And so, they just graduated from high school. And so, to be able to get them all together at the same time and start up, that's the soonest that we could get them so that we could go going.
Sure.
We have 5 of them, so we're really blessed to have that many lifeguards. So, yeah, and that was I think that's one of the first thing out of Andy's mouth is he said, darn it, the lifeguards start on Saturday.
I know. I mean, you can't predict that stuff, right? I mean, you just can't. And you could have, we want to have lifeguards starting sooner, but like you said, but we can't staff it because they're all doing their thing. It's unfortunate. Our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to the family of the deceased and for everyone that was impacted by that. I can't imagine. You had mentioned that you had talked to one of the Shellick City officers when you were down there. So
Yes.
since you have been mayor, there's been a change. Dave Wilson had retired from the Shellick Police Department as the chief. There's an interim chief, and I think there's like 2 officers, I believe. So that was, you're walking into this, and Dave had been there for, I don't know how long he'd been there, like 12, 13 years as the chief, maybe longer, something like that. And
Hmm.
So this is like a new mayor, and now the Shell Lake Police Department going, okay, so we have an interim chief that's gone. Did that add any more to your, I'm trying to figure out this job, but now I gotta, was that a all hands on deck thing, or is it, no, it's perfectly fine, right? You want to retire, and we got this. It's not a big deal.
We do. We have a gentleman that has like I think 28 or 30 years of experience. He's actually a retired policeman from the Superior area.
Oh, sure.
So we have him as the interim um, chief of police. He's excellent. We feel very fortunate to have him. And we have two young police officers that are doing just a great job. They're very responsive. Gabe was the gentleman that I talked on the beach, and he was very collective. And he's fresh out of the police academy, and he's just great. We just feel so fortunate to have the police officers that we currently have right now, and very responsive. And even from the community itself, we've been hearing good comments about them as well. So that's huge for us.
Speaking of law enforcement, and I'll kind of get off this here because I want to talk about. There's a whole bunch of, my goodness, there's so many events coming up. I want to get to that as well. But speaking of law enforcement, and in Shell Lake, there is talk of looking into and or exploring a new jail. Well, that jail would be, obviously that's a Washburn County decision, but that jail would be in Shell Lake. And the decision, no matter what that decision would be, it has to do directly with Shell Lake. Are you a part of those conversations at all? Do you get updates on that? Or is it, whatever the county decides to do, doesn't matter to me at all as the mayor of Shell Lake at all?
It matters to me a lot. And Andy actually was on an ad hoc committee with it.
Right.
And a couple of us went to the meeting on Wednesday. I think they called the meeting. It's kind of like not really town hall, but we went, and unfortunately they had gone into closed session because they were going to be discussing about property that they may buy to put this jail at. So right now it's still at a talking point. We are very concerned, about where they're going to put it and how big it's going to be and how it's going to impact the city. So yes, I am concerned about it, as are others, and we're going to try to be as involved as we can. But we do have a limited role in it because it is the county and it's the county commissioners that help make this decision. But it doesn't mean that we can't voice our opinion as to how we feel about this.
Sure.
So it's an ongoing issue. We want to continue to look at it. We want to be continually informed with it, and to let us know where it's at.
Do you feel at this point in your 2 months that you have been elected mayor, because you're right, Andy was on ad hoc committee. I don't think he is now. I don't know why. Do you feel as though you have been adequately informed and kept in the loop or during these 2 months?
Honestly, no.
What would you like to see changed?
I would like them to see it changed to bring either myself or Andy to the table, being that we're the representative of the cities, him as the city administrator and myself as the mayor, and even some of our council members, and give us an idea of what they're talking about and where they're going with this. It's a lot of money, that they're looking at spending, and it will affect the taxpayers, immensely. And so I think we as city officials, I know we're not county, but we are city officials, that we need to be kept in the loop as much as possible.
Well, I'd probably agree with that, especially because it's Shell Lake, and that's where it would be. I mean, if there is one city that'd be impacted more than any other, it would be Shell Lake. So that's probably a good idea. Just kind of, keep you guys in the loop and pick your brains and share some things back and forth. That'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I think it's still in an ad hoc committee. It hasn't gone anywhere since then. They're exploring different options and possibilities right now. What else, before we get into upcoming events, what other, tell me more about your first 2 months in office. Some things that you didn't know that were like, wow, this is awesome. And other ones going, wow, that's weird. Why do we do it this way? Tell me about your first 2 months.
Actually, it's been amazing. And I had said to my husband, I said, I don't know if I'm supposed to be having this much fun. But I've really been having fun. And it's just putting together some new ideas, different events, which we'll speak to in a minute. Getting to know just kind of like some of the city employees and But they have been behind me 110%. And I have officially have office hours. So I'm here
Oh,
Wednesday mornings and Friday mornings. And I have this mayor's corner that I put in the paper once a month. And I encourage people to come in and talk to me and introduce themselves to me. And I've been going out and meeting the different business people. And they've invited me into their establishment. I even got a tour out at the Sawyer Creek Cattle
oh, that
Company.
place is awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. I want to bring my
I
grandkids.
know. Oh, it's so awesome, and it's right here.
I
It's crazy,
know.
and I think I just saw they're now going to have some of their product now at Al's Market in Chalet.
Yeah, we're really this Andy who
Oh,
he is phenomenal.
he is phenomenal.
He
Yeah,
really wants to be involved in the community and being open to suggestions on how best to be involved, and so that's been really fun.
yeah, and real quick
Um,
shout out to him as well. He donated. I believe he's the one that donated the pig to the fundraiser for the Shell Lake fireworks street dance outside of my brother's building there at the Shell Lake, where that was what 3 weeks ago. The fundraiser they raised, I don't know, like $2,700 to help keep the Shell Lake fireworks show and the street dance free. They do it every year, the pig roast thing. And if I recall, it was Andy and Sawyer Creek. They're the ones that donated they donated it. I mean, those things aren't cheap,
oh,
man.
oh, fun! Yeah,
I
I didn't
know.
know he did either. He also was a big donator to our Great Shell Lake Get Together.
I know it. That guy does so much for the community. He really does.
And I was talking to his father, and he said that he just so wants to be involved in the
He
community, and
does.
he does.
Yeah.
He really does, and he's
Yeah.
a super busy guy.
Yeah.
So so for all of those things, it's just like I love coming into the office on Wednesdays and Fridays. And to your point, as now you're mayor, and I thought you were retired, and that was one of the questions people said: why would you want to be mayor if you're
Right.
retired? And my response was, why wouldn't you?
Well, okay. You're weird. If I retire, I just want to go golfing all day or watch baseball or something. I don't want to actually,
And I still have time. I play I play pickleball and I run and we bike and gather with our friends. And I mean, it's just, to me, it's energizing. It energizes me.
how many people have come in your office, or have you already experienced any hate mail or negative things? I mean, that just comes with the job.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that? And if so, how do you
Not
react to that?
any not any hate mail. I know people have questioned some of our things, like we changed the name from the shelter house to the beach house. So some people didn't really like that because it's always been the shelter house. So that was a little bit controversial. But I think people are okay with it, especially once they see what it looks like now. It's amazing. So that was one thing. But other than that, I haven't really had any really big
Nice.
pushback. And people have been coming to see me. And one day I heard Andy say, if you see her, you got to take a number.
Yeah, that's great.
Just
Oh,
give her the
that's so
number.
great. And it's nice. Well, and it is nice having Andy. I mean, it has to be, right? Having him there.
Oh my gosh, yes. And he was one of my biggest supporters. So, um, and I've always worked really well with him. So, yes, I really appreciate what he does and what he knows.
And we put up a press release from Washburn County Tourism, and our headline. This was Wednesday. We put this up. Well, the headline was Washburn County Tourism grows 7.1% over 2022. The subheadline: Tourism generated 57 million in total economic impact in 2023 in Washburn County, helping Wisconsin break an economic impact record. Obviously, that's for the whole county, not just Shell Lake, but certainly Shell Lake was a part of that as well. How important is tourism for Shell Lake?
Oh my gosh, it's huge. So, for people that don't know, we have this big campsite down along the lake. And we have people come in there, and I mean, it's booked from the beginning of the summer to the end of the
I
summer.
know.
So that's a big revenue for us. And then not only is it a big revenue for us, but it brings people to town. So of course, all the other businesses benefit from those people being in town as well. We also have a big ATV park,
Oh, right.
that was new about the last couple years.
Yeah.
And ATVing is a big thing in this area of the
No
North.
kidding. Holy buckets.
Yeah, so people are coming there, and again, that brings more tourism, into it. And then, of course, our beautiful lake. I mean, we have one of the most pristine, beautiful lakes in the state of Wisconsin, and we just happen to have it here in Shell Lake.
Right there. I mean, come on.
And so people come, from around to, just utilize the lake. And we have VRBOs around the lake that people come and stay. We have people here. Actually, an example is my neighbor that just bought a house about 3 years ago. They had been coming to Shell Lake for 15 years as renters and waiting for something to open up in Shell Lake so that they could move here. And they did. So it's I always say it's maybe only 1,600 people or 1,500 people, but during the summer it's got to be about 10,000 people.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Yeah, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. You said they were waiting 15 years. Housing seems to be a very big issue all across rural northwest Wisconsin. I don't think Shell Lake is an exception to that. Has there been talks of anything at the city level to whomever that would be, area legislators, which right now that'll change. It'll be Chains Green. Well, I shouldn't say Chains Green. It'll be the 74th district. Shell Lake will be in, I think, after this next election. But right now it's the 75th district. That'd be Dave Armstrong. Are there conversations there? Like, is there anything we can do to start looking and addressing housing in Shell Lake? Because I think more people would move to Shell Lake. I'm one of them. If there were more housing opportunities, more things available.
Yeah. We are. I know Andy is working on some stuff for, what we can get for like a TIF, which is the government, where they help us build houses. Yep. And so, yes, he is actively looking at something. We know that it's a desert out here for housing and that there is a great need. And with us being the county seat right here in Shell Lake, we have a lot of employees at the government center that would love to live in Shell Lake, but we just don't have the housing available right now.
Yeah, my wife is one of them. And again, that's why and that's my hometown. I'd move to Shell Lake tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. Soon. If there were more options. And I think a lot of people echo that. They really do. There isn't a place to really go.
Yes. So we certainly do recognize that need, and that is on our radar.
Good.
So it just doesn't happen overnight, but it is on our radar. Yeah.
So upcoming events. Last time I looked at the Shell Lake schedule, it was like, holy buckets, there's a lot going on. So tell us about the upcoming events.
Okay, I have to tell you the most exciting thing that we just found out this week.
Ooh.
So WCCO, I don't know if you've heard this yet.
Yes, I do. No, I haven't heard what you're talking about, but I know WCCO.
So WCCO, which is the TV station in the cities, has a program called Going to the Lake. And Shell Lake is on their agenda for July.
What?
So they are coming to Shell Lake on July 24th, 25th, and 26th. And their main objective is to give everybody the outlook on who we are in Shell Lake and what we have to offer. So we are pumped about this. I've been in contact with Chris Schaefer, who is one of the gentlemen that is the team that comes and talks. And so we'll have the photographer and the producer here on that Wednesday. And then Chris and his side partner will be here on Thursday and Friday. So we're already kind of teaming up with the different organizations within the city as to what we can do, to make this one of the best going to the lakes that they've ever had. So I'm actually working with the chamber this afternoon. This morning at 10 o'clock, I have a meeting with her and Andy. We're just trying to kind of put together, just at a high level, a schedule as what we can do when they're here, and make sure that we highlight all that we can, in those 2 days that we're here. But we are super excited.
Oh my God! Now, what do they do with that? I mean, obviously, then they have to go back. They have to edit stuff, and put it all together into a story, and then that gets aired on WCCO.
Yes, live.
Oh, live.
Yes, well, they record it, and then they record it and then it's on at the 5 o'clock news, and then it's on the 6 o'clock news, and their last take will be that Friday, the 26th, for their 6 o'clock news hour.
That night.
So.
6 o'clock. Oh my goodness, I want to make sure I watch that. That's so cool.
I know, we're super excited about it. When we got the word, it's like, holy buckets, this is awesome.
That's legit. What other events are coming up in Shell Lake?
Okay, so first of all, I would just like to, if I could, give a shout out to the hotel that we have here in Shell Lake. I don't know if you're aware that it was
That's
bought.
still a thing?
It was just bought out in May by Nick and Becky Dillon, and they are the new owners. So it was the Mayorview, and now it's going to be called the Shell Lake Lodge of Wyndham.
Wyndham. I know that. That's a hotel chain, isn't it?
It is. It's a national hotel chain.
Yeah. Like that's like an umbrella thing. There's tons of them underneath that.
Yes. And so because of that, of course, it brings it all up to a higher standard, for everybody. And this Nick and Becky, they are not new to this. They have a hotel in Hayward. And so this is not their first rodeo. So they've come in, they've bought the establishment. They are working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week to get this up and running. Now they're hoping by the middle of this month they will have the accreditation of Wyndham, and then they can call it the Shell Lake Lodge by Wyndham. And I went out to see them last week. They already have the pool up and running. They just have to wait for the state to come and give it the final approval. It's beautiful. They're refurbishing all of the rooms. They've gotten rid of all the mattresses. They just ordered in 60 new mattresses that are on the way. All new bedding, all new everything. It is going to rock. So we are super excited.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go down there to that one. Seriously, because honestly, when I go past there, there's nobody ever there. I don't ever hear anybody talking about it. That's why I was only half joking when I said that's still a thing. Like I literally didn't even know if it was open.
So, and the thing that we really have to try to work hard on, and I'm hoping that this helps, just talking about it on your show today, is it's a whole different establishment than it was before.
Wow.
It didn't have great ratings before, and now, I mean, they have turned this 180 degrees.
So is it open right now? Or no, it's not open right now. They got all the beds and all, it's finished, right?
Yes, it is open because they had people that had made reservations that they had to honor.
Sure.
So they had to keep it open during construction and reconstruction. They've replaced every single window in that facility. Because when you looked out the window, it looked like you were looking into a shower stall. Now it's clear, it's beautiful. The rooms some of the suites have fireplaces in them, jacuzzis. It's just amazing. Because I was in there a couple of years ago and it's like, oh my goodness. And I said, did you guys replace all of your lights? It's so nice and bright and cheery in here. And they said, no, we just turned them on. So, just those kind of small things. The bones of the place are good. So they weren't worried about that. It was just kind of, freshening up the interior. And it's beautiful. So we're hoping that WCCO will stay there. And they will be getting a fantastic welcome from there if they do.
Ooh.
So that's the big hope.
That would be great. That'd be perfect timing.
We need to get the word out there that this has changed hands. It's a beautiful facility. It isn't like it was. It's clean. It's bright. It smells great. It's wonderful. I know I keep saying I'm excited about these things, but again,
these are big deals. You should be excited. Everybody should be excited about that.
It is, and we've needed something like this in our town for a long time, and now we have it. So. And this Nick and Becky are awesome. They're wonderful young people. I don't know where they get the energy from because they have children and he has another job and she is a nurse but they're kind of putting all this on this, on the back burner so they can get this up. And I have to read you one of the things that she said. I said to her, how in the world do you have the energy to do this? And she says, well, we're running on sunshine and rainbows. Come on. Oh my gosh. I gotta remember that saying.
Sunshine and rainbows.
Yes. So anyway, so that's the big thing that Shell Lake itself is super excited about right now.
Okay.
The events, you're right. We have a ton of things going on in Shell Lake. This Friday, today, we will be having a Walk for the Cure, which takes place down at the park at 5 p.m. tonight. We have a mayor's group that's walking, and it's a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. This is like the 26th or 27th year that they've done it. They've done it in other places, but they're doing it right in Memorial Park. so that nobody has to walk in traffic. And
Right.
so we have paths around the park that people can walk, and you can either donate money per mile or you just make a flat out donation, for the American Cancer Society. It starts at 5 and it goes till 9 tonight. There's luminary bags that people can decorate and light up that we'll have along the walks this evening, for people that have either had cancer or are cancer survivors. The speaker that is talking tonight is Mary Hemshrod, who is from the area, and she is a 25-year cancer survivor. So that kind of will start it out
So,
tonight.
so they, you're saying that people could donate to it, but don't have to walk.
They don't have to
All
walk.
right, good, because
No.
that interests me a lot more. Because if it's required that I, walk, then nah. But hey, I'll donate it to it, but I'm just not doing any walking. Ugh.
Yeah, and even if you want to come down and just enjoy the festivities, I mean, there's a lot of positive stuff going on
I
down
know.
there.
I
So
know.
just to be involved in that, if you're like me, that kind of stuff rubs off on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Positive energy,
And
man.
so, yeah, if you don't want to walk, but you want to donate, oh my goodness, they would love any donation that you have to give, or anybody. And we still
Yeah.
have room on our mayor's team. So if anybody wants to show up tonight at 5 o'clock and say, hey, I'd like to be on the mayor's team, we've got room for you.
So that's tonight at 5 o'clock. What's coming up after that?
Okay, so um, so that's tonight, June 14th. So June 21st, which
Mhm.
is next Friday, I
Friday.
believe,
Mhm.
is Make Music Day. Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm. I think somebody sent me something. I think it was maybe
So
supposed to post it.
this is across the world where Make Music Day is. And what it is it's calling out musicians just to go outside throughout the different cities, throughout the country, throughout the world to play music.
Okay, no, I have not heard of this. What
Okay,
is it
so
randomly? You just go outside and start playing?
well, there is a schedule out there. So
Oh,
in Shell Lake, I can tell you where they are. In Shell Lake, I can't tell you. I know that they're up in Spooner too.
okay.
At the different, like Strongman, I know that they're at, and Round Man, and those are the only ones I know for
Sure,
sure.
sure.
But here in Shell Lake, we're going to be at the Arts Center. It's going to be at the library. It's going to be at the pavilion. It's going to be at the Potter Shed.
Wow.
And we just have different people that are playing instruments at the library as well. And just people out there playing their instruments. And we all know what a, lift listening to music is.
Yep.
And I mean, it's not only good for the soul, it's just good. It puts you in a good mood. It kind of gives you a kind of a skip to your step. And they're going to be throughout the community, and it's free. So people can walk around the community, listen to these. They're not all professional musicians, but they all know what they're doing. And they're going to be out there playing music just for your own delight. The Arts Center here in Shell Lake also is having people over there playing as well. So it's going to be quite a festive day, I think.
I recently read a study that is either 13 or 19%, I can't recall, people that listen to music for at least 1 hour a day are 13 or 19% happier in life. I don't know how they figure that stuff out, but I got to start listening to like 6 hours of music then, because I think that made me like 80% happier in life. So I'm going
There
to
you
try.
go. I have music playing in our house all the time.
See, and look, that totally makes sense now.
And I mean, to the point where my husband will come and turn it off, and I'll say, what did you just do?
Don't you have to go to work? Yeah, don't you have mayor
Yeah.
stuff to do? Get out of here.
So,
All right, that's on
yeah.
the 21st, next Friday. What's coming up after that one?
Okay, so then on June 22nd, the very
Ooh.
next day, on Saturday, we are having this amazing event called, I don't know if you've been in Shell Lake lately. Did you see the new the new sailboat structure that's along the walkway?
No.
Come on, Ben, you can't miss it.
I
if you
literally
do.
just went by. I was there Wednesday, and I guess I didn't even pay attention to it. I didn't even see it.
Oh my gosh. Well, Pete Seeger, who is a local artist, has made this amazing, like, I think it's 16 feet tall at
How
the
did I miss
tallest.
that?
I don't know, but it's the Flying Scot. And we are having a dedication of that sculpture on Saturday, June 22nd at 2 p.m. And what it is Tom Scott was a local resident here who started the sailing club, and he passed a couple years ago. And he was instrumental in starting the sailing club and getting it to where it is today of over 100 people. So when we were having the sailing meeting, somebody said, well, could we do something to commemorate, Tom Scott? Well, Pete Seeger was there, and he is the artist in Shell Lake. I don't know if you've been around the lake and you see where this gentleman has all of these structures out in his yard that he has made from metal.
Yep.
That's him.
Okay.
So he put together this amazing sculpture where the Shell Lake Sailing Club raised $10,000 to build this. And he donated all of his time. Now, this gentleman has artwork throughout the United States. So you have to know that him donating all of his time to do this structure, which was like at least 11 months, there was work that he had to turn away so that he could get this project done in a timely fashion. So that is out there along the shores of Shell Lake by the walking path there. And we're going to have the dedication to it on Saturday. And what the really cool part about it is, I'm telling people this is going to be a Kodak moment, and it'll give you goosebumps. So everybody on the lake that has a sailboat that afternoon is going to sail across the lake to the beach for this dedication.
That'll be awesome.
Kodak moment, right?
I love Shell Lake.
Once they land their boats, they'll come over to where the structure is, and we will then have the full dedication to it. And Tom Scott, being that he was the instigator of the sailing club, the boat itself is called the Flying Scott, not after him, but that is the type of sailboat.
Oh,
so this is the Flying Scott, and we put Scott with 2 T's instead of 1 to match his last
got
name.
it.
So we will have that dedication with some refreshments to follow and kind of having a little bit of a grand opening of the new beach house.
So that would be on the 22nd, a Saturday at 2:00.
2:00, yes.
And people don't need to sign up for that; they just show up.
Just show up. We'll have some bleachers there for people to be able to have a seat. And then Pete will be there, dedicating it. His wife, Sonia Scott, will be there for the dedication. And then with kind of some fun to follow afterwards. But it was a huge effort on both his part and the city. The city helped him, put it up over by the beach by utilizing some of our lift trucks. And the city was phenomenal with Mitch Brown and his crew. Were phenomenal in making this happen.
So it's up right now, though, right?
It is.
Okay. Well, I'm coming down there down to the beach area. I think next weekend. I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday for like a family. Like once a year, we get all our family together because people move away, and like my oldest daughter, she's in Menominee, her husband and her kids, and my sister's over in the Twin Cities. So once a year, we try to get together, and we usually meet down at the beach. So I'll be able to see that next. Wait, shoot! You said the 20th. That's next Saturday. I think the 22nd is actually when we're meeting. So I'll be able to be down there because I'll be down there with my family.
Well, come to the celebration at 2:00.
Totally.
Yeah,
all right,
it's just north of our big fish, of our big walleye.
Got it. Well, I'll be able. I think I'm actually literally we're going to be there from noon to 3 or something. So yeah, I'll definitely walk over. So after that, that's the 22nd. Let's at least try to get up to because we're already kind of a little past our time, but that's fine. Yes. But let's try to get to at least the 3rd of July fireworks. What's after the 22nd? Is there something between that and the fireworks?
Yes. So June 29th is the Lakeshore Protection meeting at the community center. Now that's for the community wide. So that's where we talk about the lake, we talk about the levels, we talk about the healthiness of the lake. We also are going to be having a guest speaker from the Raptor Center, and I'm not saying that exactly right, but she is from that center in Spooner, and she's the veterinarian, and she's going to be coming and talking about the birds of prey. And word was last night, I was at the Lions meeting, words was last night is she's going to bring a 1 or 2 birds of prey to the meeting. So it'll be really cool to hear what she has to say, and even how the lake affects, as you know, in Shell Lake, we have a lot of bald eagles. So even the health of the lake, how that affects, the bald eagles, the
Interesting.
loons of the lake. So she'll be talking about that. And then it's just kind of like the business meeting following that. But there'll be refreshments served with it. We do it every year, and the whole community is invited.
What time is that? You said the 29th, but what
That is
time?
at 9:30 in the morning at the community center.
Community Center, 9:30. Got it. Okay, what's after that one?
So the one after that, it's actually in July, but I have to talk about it, Ben, because
Oh,
it's the
sure.
first thing that we've done. It's called the Shell Lake the Great Shell Lake Get Together. What we are doing is we are having an old fashioned picnic for the citizens and residents of Shell Lake on July 14th. So the rodeo is the 13th, and we're right after the rodeo on July 14th at the park between the beach house and the band shell, where we will be serving brats, hot dogs, hamburgers, all the fixings. And the big thing that we're going to be getting from Louis is the best root beer, I guess, that is around. And we'll be having root beer and root beer floats. And all of this is free to the residents of Shell Lake. It's a big, huge celebration.
How is it free? Everybody had to donate all this stuff.
Oh my gosh, we've had so many donors. We've had Louis, they donated 200 brats. We had
Jesus.
Sawyer Creek, they donated 200 hamburgers. The Shell Lake State Bank gave us $500 cash. The Lions, which is a huge part of this whole thing, they are paying for the root beer and the root beer floats with the ice cream.
So that's July 14th. What day is that?
A Sunday.
A Sunday.
And it's from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Uh-huh. And it's
And we
called
have
the Great Shell. I can't read my own writing now. The
a
Great
great
Shell Lake
Shell Lake get together.
Get Together.
Yes.
First one.
Well, somebody said at the Lions group last night, I was at a meeting, that years and years and years ago, they used to have picnics where it was a potluck. But this isn't potluck. They don't have to bring anything but themselves. We provide all the food and the drink. And we're just hoping for good weather. And people seem to be really excited about it.
Well, we'll call it the first annual.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Is it going to be annual or is it a one-off thing?
It is.
Oh.
Heck yeah, we're putting all this work into it. We're going to do it every year.
That's all. So 11, okay, 29, July 14th, 11 to 2, down, okay, free bra. And what was the goal of doing this?
Just to get all of the people in Shell Lake together.
Aw. Bringing out
So
the
the
feels.
lake people, the town people, the people that come here and camp, a lot of them camp here for the whole summer. To get all these people together, meet, the city council is going to be involved, the Lions are going to be involved, the chamber is going to be involved, to kind of meet who their city leaders are. We'll be mingling with them, with them, because that's one of the things that people said is we have no idea who you are, who the council is. So it's like, well, let's change that.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's get you introduced to us. So
Well,
what better way than to invite people
right.
for free food and refreshments, and to meet the people that help run the city.
Oh.
And we're still trying to maybe we might have some music there too. I'm still working on that.
Stay tuned for that.
Yes.
And of course, the July 3rd fireworks obviously is gigantic for Shell Lake.
Huge. Huge. That's one of the biggest celebrations of the city.
Yeah.
So we're super excited.
So
I keep saying super excited. I got to stop saying that. But
Well,
it's
again, these
very
things are,
fun.
yeah, I mean, things are, we should be excited about this stuff. Everybody should. And I know that brings in a lot of people from a lot of different places. I go down there every year for that. And when I was younger, the Shell Lake, we used to actually go to the Cumberland Fire Show because it was better than Shell Lake. Shell Lake was like, meh. Boy, in the last several years, that's the place to be, man. That's the place to be.
Well, now they do it on a barge out in the lake.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
And then the only one other shout out that I'd like to get, because I know that they're coming to a deadline, is the 27th of July is the Lions Triathlon. So I was just at a meeting last night with them, and there is a deadline, to order the shirts. There's a deadline for registering for the triathlon, and somebody said last night that right now they have, I think he said almost 40 people that are participating, which is par. So I did it last year. I did the triathlon last year, and it was really a good experience for me. It really pushed me, but I was really glad I did it. And the atmosphere is great, and the Lions do a terrific job in lining this up and getting it run well, and making sure everybody is safe. And it's a swim, it's a walk, and it's a run. So it's a great event. It draws a lot of people from around the Twin Cities area as well as our area.
All right, so I just went on to I was going to ask you if there's like a calendar on the Shell Lake's website. I'm on shelllake.org. Just on the mobile version, I don't see that, but it says there's city news and events, press release, Mayor's Corner, Community Center information, Beach House information, the Great Shell Lake get-togethers on there. So there is a spot. So I wanted to find out, is there a place to go that, of the things that you've talked about, that somebody can go to and just, okay, here's a list of all the things that are coming up. Is that on the website?
It is.
All right. Yeah, I think I see most of them here.
And then what I try to do is every month I have a column in the paper.
Yeah.
The Advocate.
Is that the Mayor's Corner?
Yes.
Oh, I see that.
And so I update everybody what's going on in the city of Shell Lake with that. And people really like that.
Mayor's Corner. Okay. I see it right there. I'm going to have to read that. Rowie, thank you so very much for coming on and chatting, telling us all exciting news and everything that's going on down in Shell Lake. I love it. I love it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we should do this again. Let's start doing this more often. I don't know. We'll figure out kind of a schedule every couple months. Well, in the summertime, certainly we could do these a little more often because, it's Shell Lake and it's the summer. That's where it's happening, man.
Oh, my gosh. It is crazy busy, which is how we like it.
That's how it's supposed to be. Thank you for Shell Lake Mayor Rowie Hansberger for taking time to come on for a chat with us today. I'll see everybody back here on Tuesday when Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald and I will be back for our latest episode of Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy Show. So until then, for DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden saying thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.